Well, good afternoon. Welcome to Tuesday the 25th of January. Well, I was wondering what I was going to do for this week's vlog. And forgive me if I look blurry-eyed and like I've had no sleep, but I was rudely awoke this morning at 5 a.m. This is life on a boat. With this constant beep, 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 beep. And I'm thinking, am I dreaming? Or is it my MPP controller? And I'm thinking, well, that shouldn't be having an issue because it's well, not middle at night, but it was 5 o'clock in the morning. So I stumbled out of bed and followed the sound of the beep, 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 beeping to the electric cupboard, which is to the left of me. And expecting to see an alarm on the MPP controller telling me that there was an issue somewhere with the batteries or whatever. Only to find that when I opened the door, it was the actual alarm that was going off was my water sensor alarm. Now, somewhere up there or up there, I'll put a note of the vlog, which you hopefully will have watched. If you haven't, you can have a look at it. When I installed a inspection hatch in the floor of Freedom in the actual electric cupboard, which is it's the last compartment before you go into the engine bay. And because a boat obviously sits in the water with the engine at the back, so it's slightly heavier, all water would run down to that area. So as you'll see if you watch the vlog or you've already seen it, I cut out the hole, fitted the toughened cover as a protection cover, and I installed this little water sensing device, which I demoed, and it works brilliant. And when I saw that light flashing, I'm thinking, oh my God. So I unpacked all the rubbish that you keep in the bottom of the electric cupboard, lifted the hatch, only to find, yeah, there's water. Now, there ain't a lot of water, but there's water. And there's about, well, just a covering, for want of a better word. So I'm thinking, could it be condensation? Is it my water pump that's leaking? Is it the clarifier tank that's leaking? No, is it my radiators? And at that time of morning when it's pitch black outside, you're on a boat on your own, everything's whizzing through your head. So first and foremost, I got a bowl and a couple of old flannels that I use for wiping Misty's feet when she's been out and she's got muddy. And I mopped up the water that was in the bottom of the inspection port, and I got some kitchen roll and dabbed it all dry. And I thought, well, that's all right. I've removed a little bit of the ballast because it's only broken slab, so I could pull that out. And my water pipes that's recently been plumbed in from the engine are also in the electric cupboard, so I checked all them joints and they were fine. And I thought, well, it must have been a bit of condensation that's just gathered. And I'll make myself a cup of tea because it's 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm now wide awake. And I checked, I went back to the port after I made my cup of tea, the inspection cover area, and lo and behold, it's wet. So now I'm starting to get worried because I'm thinking, well, I've only just dried it and already it's wet. It wasn't deep, but it's wet. So I'd convinced myself it's got to be the water pump that's leaking. I pulled the sofa away because behind this sofa there's a radiator which is next to that cupboard. Checked all around the carpet, that's dry, the joints are dry, there's no leaks on the radiator. So working backwards, the next main area that could have been a problem I thought was the hot water tank and or the water pump. Now to get to the water pump I have to dismember off the flipping bathroom cabinet because typical boat builders, they build the flipping utilities in them, slap everything in front of it. So cut a long story short, pulled everything out, went in with a flashlight, bone dry under the water pump, bone dry under the hot water tank, wet in the inspection port. And then I started to think, well, the only other place it can be coming from then is the front of the boat where the water tank is. Now Freedom's got a 500 litre, I think it's 500 litre stainless steel water tank built under the well deck in the bow. Now in the bedroom, I'll take you and show you in a minute, the steps that take you out onto the well deck are actually Scania lorry fold down steps. And I can remember Jeff telling me when he showed me around the boat originally, there was a inspection hole there and access to turn off the water tank should you need to switch off that water supply. I pulled out the little inspection cover, put my hand down, brings my hand out, it's wet. So now I'm starting to really worry, because I'm thinking this is not good. I've got a leaking water tank. Now it can't have rotted because it's stainless steel, which then beggars why have I got water on the floor under the tank. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have my coffee. I'm always got to have a coffee. I'll just show you how I'm going on mopping this water up that's in the inspection area, and I'm going to show you as best I can, because it's a bit limited to access, but I'll show you where the water tank tap is and what I found there, and what I'm going to do to stop this being a problem in the future. So I need this coffee because it's maybe 1:30 now, and I feel like I want to go back to bed. It's great living on a boat. Stay with me. Right, I'm a bit limited to space in here, but at least you'll remember, if you've already seen the vlogs, that this is the inspection port that I cut into the floor, and this is where my water sensor is normally mounted. Now, as you can see, I'm still getting the water out of this floor area. Now, to start with, I thought, oh, there might only be a couple of cupfuls. I apologise because the water looks filthy in the bowl, but that's because the cloths are wiping across what is a slightly rusty floor. It's not pitted or anything, but it's going to stain the water. And what we have to bear in mind is this water is laid between the metal floor and the broken slab ballast that's underneath. So obviously it's going to creep slowly to the back of the boat. So it's going to take a while for me to get this mopped out. The water sensor that was going off, again, if you've seen the vlogs and you've watched the vlog, you'll understand, is this little device here. You say, look, it says water sensor. If I put that on this damp flannel, that was the sound I was constantly getting. Obviously, once it's touching the wet, that's what I was getting. And when I came into the cupboard, I'm just going to lift you up. It's a bit limited to space here, not easy. There's the alarm, look up on the wall. Doing exactly what it's designed to do. I'm just going to put you back down here, so bear with me. Yeah, exactly what it's designed to do. It's brilliant. Cost me a lesson, I think it was about £6.80, something like that, the alarm. So I'm going to show you the reason I've got this water here now. I think this is the reason I've got it here. But my intention now is to leave the cover off, constantly keep mopping out, and if in 3 days time I'm still mopping water out of here, then that's I'm off today, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so I can constantly keep mopping it out. If in 3-4 days time I'm still mopping water out, then my train of thought as to why I've got this water here will be wrong. But let me take you now and show you the water tank area and see if it makes a little bit of sense as to why this water is getting to where it is. Right, back into the bedroom. So this is my bow doors steps, which, as I said earlier, these are off of a Scania truck, and they just fold up and lift out of the way. Now, the only thing Jeff never did do was put a fixing catch so I could keep them up there without having to hold them with one hand. But I'm just checking on the camera, you can just see this is how you get into the tank, stainless steel tank, and the relative bit is this here that I wanted to show you. I've pushed it up out the way now, But this is the tank lagging. So it's basically an insulation of, I don't know what, it's some sort of fibre placed inside of a plastic bag, a bit like your old-fashioned immersion heater water tank jacket, but it's in a clear bag. Now, when I came to this morning, down where you can't see, but right down here, there's an old-fashioned on-off screw-down water tap. That's where it was wet. And I was having a feel around, and this lagging's right down in front of where my hand is now, inside this inspection area. And I pulled my hand out, and it was wet. But then I noticed, as I lifted my hand out, I was knocking this insulation. And what I realised is this bag was full of water. All the bottom of this bag had got water in it. So, in a way, I was pleased it was in this bag, because the bag was at least 2 inches, this insulation is about 1.5 inches to 2 inches higher than the bottom of the tank, which leads me to believe then, obviously, that the water wasn't leaking from the tank itself, it's from off above the tank, and it was draining into this bag, and then obviously it's found a way out. There must be a slightly porous, I think it can breathe, it's designed to breathe. But anyway, the water was finding its way out into the floor area and then draining down to that inspection cover. So I'm going to put that there, put these steps back, and then I'm going to reposition you, and I'll show you where my problem lies. Okay, so there's the steps. Beneath, or should I say behind there, there's the inspection cover that I've just been showing you, and there, look, directly above is the filler. Now, to get to that actual filler and the tube that goes down to the tank, I would have to remove all of this, and that would be an absolute nightmare, because that's basically your bulkhead cover. So I'd have to take all the carpet off of there that is used as insulation, and then remove the board. But my thinking is, the error of my ways was, when I filled this on a Sunday, I've had a habit this last few weeks of going to the LSAN point to empty the cassette. So I lift that, unscrew that, take it out, put my hose pipe in, turn on the water, go off and do my jobs. When I come back, the whole of this, under this matting, is, when the tank is full, is just flooding out of the side of the boat. There is a couple of, oh, you can't see them on here at the moment because I've got my coal there, but there's a couple of drain holes, and I've never really given it any thought. But my thinking is that the seal under this here is allowing the water to get on top of the tank. It's going down and under that seal, getting on top of the tank, and then filling in that insulation that's in the bag, and then dripping down the side of the tank into the floor. So I've learned a good lesson. I think in 3 or 4 days, what drop of water now is under them slabs between here and the back of the boat will have been mopped out. I am going to get this out, I've got to remove this bulkhead, as I say, to lift it, to reseal it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this section because it's only clipped in. I'm going to remove all this section here. I'm going to clean down around the actual filler, and then I'm going to put a band of silicone, and I would push it tight into the edges all the way around in the hope that it will seal. And I'm going to come up with a little alarm device that when I come to fill the tank, like the water sensor you've just seen but a smaller version, I'm going to put the hose in, and I'm going to have a stick with the water sensor on, which is going to be set at about 1 inch below the top of the tank. And the idea is I can then just pop it in, put the hose on. If I'm on the boat doing jobs, when the water's 1 inch off the top of the tank, it'll start setting that alarm off. I can then come and sit here and wait for me to see the water coming up the filler neck. I can then grab the hose, take it off the boat, and keep this area bone dry. And that is a lesson learned. Don't just put your hose in and leave it. You know, you've got to have a better system. And even if I fill the tank to within 1 inch of the top, that's over 480 litres I'm estimating. Ain't an issue. I live here on my own, so I don't have a lot of water usage, only for the showers and that. So what a day. But at least I think I've got the answer, because what I did do, as I say, I cut the bag where the water was in the insulation bag, let it go, and I noticed within a matter of minutes, literally minutes, that inspection area had got a lot more water in it. So it's obviously gone straight down to there, and now all I'm mopping out is the residue water that's under the slabs. So I hope that's going to help you not have the issue that I've just had, but also encourage you to fit an inspection port like I've got at the back of Freedom, and more importantly, put a water alarm sensor in. They're not expensive. Hope you found that of interest. So fingers crossed. My problem has been overflowing when I've been filling the tank, allowing the water to get under the seal, onto the water tank, into the insulation that's around it in that plastic bag, and obviously it's built up and found its way out and gone to the back of the boat. So do have a look at the vlog that shows you me putting the inspection hatch in. Do, if you've already got one, invest in a water sensor. You know, they're worth having. If you just put one, you only have to put it on with a bit of blue tack onto the floor of where your hot water tank is, or one near your water pump. Because they are hidden out of sight, you'll never know you've got a leak until there's a problem. You know, like I found this morning. So having these little alarms are fantastic. They're 120 decibel. You can't help but hear them. And even though mine was in the electric cupboard with the door shut, and I'm in bedroom at the front of this 57-foot boat, I could still hear it, and it woke me up. So yeah, I'm sorry that the video in it hasn't been brilliant, because I'm in very confined spaces, but it just gives you a bit of hopefully a bit of a guide as to where things are located on board the boat, and how I've now assessed what the problem is. Now, I could be wrong. If in a week's time I'm still mopping water out of that inspection area, then I know I've got a problem. But for now, I think I've sorted it. On to the next task, which is putting the silica damp sachets in my control panel area to see if that's going to combat the damp getting underneath the little LCD screen and stopping it showing nice and clear. Let's go and do that. Right, welcome to the stern deck, and my attempt to combat the damp that I believe from the condensations getting up in this tower and interfering with the LCD screen on my control panel, giving me a very weak readout. I can just about see it, but it should be in a lot darker mode when I come to read the actual hours on the clock. So I've just got some very simple, I've got a strip of 3, but you can break them off into individuals. I'm just using 3 just to make sure that I've got plenty to hang the bag on. Double-sided tape, I've warmed it all up so it should be easy enough just to stick on. And then in this bag I've got about 50, maybe a few more, of these little silica bags that you get in all your electronics and that. And I just thought that it's got to be worth a go to put these on a hook, hanging down inside here, out of the way of any of the electrics or the cable controls. And in a week's time, when I come to start the engine, we'll see if the actual readout is darker, so I can actually clearly see the digits, and then we know that we're combating any condensation or damp that's coming up this tower. Let's get these in here and see if it works. There we go. they're hung out the way in the corner, and then, as I say, any condensation that comes up from the bottom, from the engine room, hopefully will be absorbed by them crystals, and I should get a nice clean dark readout on the LCD. So another job ticked off my to-do list. Good afternoon, welcome to Wednesday the 28th of January. I just wanted to show you this before I do Cider of the Week. I put the crystals, the damp silica crystal catcher, in my tower, as you'll have seen in the vlog yesterday, just under 24 hours ago, and I thought, I can't wait till next week. I'll just go and have a look. Now, if I haven't already deleted last week's vlog, which I'm pretty sure I've still got the films at the moment, I will try, if I can, just to show you the 26.1 runtime hours on the clock as it was last week, and now it is today after I've put these crystals in, and already within less than 24 hours. Tell me if you can't see the difference. Come and have a look. I need to put my glasses on because I can't see a thing. I can see the screens illuminated. And you can just see it, look, 26.1. So I know that it's definitely, that's as clear as day. And them crystals have only been in there, what, less than 24, I think about 22 hours. And already, as you can see, it's still got the 26.1, so I haven't done anything different. I haven't cheated and put the air dryer in there. That's just from putting that little bag with 50 or 60 of those packs of crystals, damp crystals in there. So, dead chuffed with that. I'm ready for a cider. Cider of the Week. Well, welcome to this week's Cider of the Week. And by crikey, am I ready for this? It's been an eventful couple of days. As you'll have seen in the vlog, a 5 o'clock wake-up call from a water indicator alarm isn't a good start to your days off. A bit of an update. I'm happy to say that at the moment, I think my original observations that the water had seeped in through the filler neck seal onto the top of the tank, and then wetted all the insulation that's in the polythene wrap around the tank, and had collected in the bottom, had found over a period of months of filling the tank like that, has actually found a weak point in that plastic bag and had started to leak. The reason I think I'm on the right lines is I've been using some absorbent pads in the inspection hatch, and I left a pad in last night for 9 hours from going to bed to get up this morning. When I came to wring it out, it was just like when you've had a wash with a flannel and you wring your flannel out, there wasn't a massive amount of water. And my thinking is, when I first came to look at this on the Tuesday morning, there was quite a lot of water in there. And if there was a suspect leak on a pipe in a joint somewhere that I haven't yet seen, hidden behind the walls or the skirting, etc., then these pads that I keep putting in there would be wetter because the water would be constantly feeding through. So delved at the tank a little bit more, had another look at it today, and the only issue, if I'm right in what I'm thinking, the issue I have got is that if I ever allow the water to overflow again, then obviously this problem's going to come back. So I'm going to design a little gizmo, which I'll show you in the future, that'll warn me when my tank is at a level where I need to be turning that tap off. The reason I'm not 100% sure where that leak is at that top seal is because if you can imagine the bow deck floor, and then the water pipe comes in through a tube. It's about 8 inches of tube, and then it fits into the top of the tank. So you've got a seal on the floor, but you've also got a seal where the tube, it's like a copper tube, fits into the tank. Now, the only way I could ever get to see either of those properly would be to remove the whole bulkhead where the bow steps are. And yes, it's doable. It's not impossible, it's doable. It would mean removing all the carpet, because if you notice when you look around Freedom, all the walls are actually carpeted up to the gunnel line, so it keeps the boat lovely and warm. But my thinking is, it could be a bit of a case of a sledgehammer an effect. If I rip all that out, only to find that it was just that upper seal, which I can cure, I think, just by putting a very clear and thin silicone band around it. Put a silicone gel band around the top. If I've ripped all that wall out just to confirm that it isn't leaking on the bottom of the filler neck where it joins the tank, I'd be a bit miffed, because it's not a few hours work, it's a lot of work. So my thinking is that any water now that's getting from the front of the boat into that hatch, and it is minimal, is the residue of the water that's sitting underneath all the broken slabs that are under my floor that act as ballast. And obviously that water's slowly creeping. And the reason it's slowly creeping is, if you look at a narrowboat with the engine in the back, you'll see that they sit in the water at an angle. I was doing some work on the stern deck yesterday afternoon, and I got my spirit level out and I put it on the two side handrails that I have on the back of the stern, left and right, and expecting to see the bubble in my spirit level indicating that the boat, that Freedom, is tilting that way with the engine at the back. In fact, she's bang level. And so that water that was in the hatch originally on Tuesday morning, I think has slowly been creeping down over the last 2 or 3 weeks when I've allowed that pipe to overflow. So basically what I'm saying is, fingers crossed, I'm leaving the hatch cover off and I'm monitoring it now once a day. I was doing it every couple of hours, I'm now just monitoring it once a day, and I reckon within a week it will have got to a point where I can put the cover back on, put the water indicator back in, and not have to worry. So hopefully that's good news. Now, cider of the week this week is a pineapple and raspberry. We're going back to fruit ciders. Now this I picked up in Lidl. I'm not advertising Lidl, and I did pay for this myself, but it gives you very little information on it other than it's pineapple, raspberry. It just says refreshing zingy cider. It doesn't tell you where it's made. It's just got the Lidl Irish headquarters address on it, and it just says fruit orchard cider. Let me put that close up there, look, so you can see it. Okay, and it's 4%, 500ml bottle, and it says best served over ice, taste of summer at the time of any time of the year. Well, I know I must bore you to death with it, but I don't pour my ciders over ice because I think it just waters them down. But it has been in the ice box, so it's chilled. What did I pay for it? I think about £1.60. It was a bit of a rush buy. I waited for something else, grabbed that, and I thought that'll do. So as I say every week, and by crikey this week I'm ready for this, let's crack it open, see how it tastes. I've used the 3 bottles that my daughter got me at Christmas, so I'm back to my good old faithful tankard that my friends Louise and Callum got me just before they left the marina. Oh, that's fruity. Oh, that smells nice. Having said that, I've had some others that smell nice. By God, they don't taste it. So let's have a look. Oh, Oh, look at that, packed with bubbles, look at that. It's almost like a champagne. It smells very raspberry. Tastes a bit watery. It's a bit like kids' pop. It tastes nice. It's got a, you can definitely taste the fruit in there, and it hasn't got any nasty aftertastes. It's very palatable, very fresh, very light. As I say, initially it tastes a little bit watery until you've had a couple of drinks, and then you can start to get the flavour. Yeah, that is definitely I class it. I know he says a summer all year round, but I think that is definitely a summer cider. I don't think you'd walk into a pub and ask for a bottle of it in the middle of winter. I really don't. And I don't think it's a cider that you'd have with a meal. Not a sit down Sunday lunch sort of meal. I think it's a barbecue out in the garden with your friends and your family, and a lovely hot summer's night, and this will be okay. Yeah, it tastes nice, but it's still got that bit of a watery, weak, hasn't got much of a punch in it. You know, I didn't want something that knocks your head off, but it doesn't hit you with that real, whoa, that's nice, you know. Well, it's not an expensive bottle, 500ml, £1.60 I think it was, maybe just a little bit less. Would I buy it again? No, I wouldn't buy it again, because there's a lot nicer ciders out there. But if somebody gave me a bottle, when I drink it, well, of course I would, because it's free. It's not that bad. But where would I rate it? I don't think this goes above a 7. I really don't. It's okay, it's enjoyable, it's nice, bit watery, and lacking that cidery punch. You know, I like it when you've got a bit of something when you've drunk. I can imagine if you was really thirsty, this wouldn't actually hit the spot, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is a 7 from me, Mr. Lidl. Must try harder. So, having not had much sleep for the last couple of nights, because I've been waking up at 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning and running through to check if my hatch is filling up with water, only to find it hasn't. I feel this week's gone really quick and I haven't achieved a great deal. Hopefully when we do next week's vlog, I'll be in a better frame of mind, and I'll have more good news. I've got an idea for next week's vlog already, which is going to be nothing to do with physical repairs or anything like that on the boat. Well, I don't think so. All my cables have been ordered now for my new batteries, because they haven't been installed yet. I've created a battery box with a difference, and I'm sure people will have views on that when I show you. But for me, I think it's going to be ideal. We're relocating the batteries to make life easier, and I nearly died when they told me how much the cable was per metre, because I actually thought they was quoting me for a whole roll to re-cable the marina. It's expensive stuff, and it's big cable, you know, that's really thick, heavy cable, unlike what you see when you lift the bonnet on your car and a car battery. My solar's working well at the moment, and my old batteries, the ones I'm taking out, haven't had the Shoreline charger on them now for nearly 4 weeks, and they're still performing pretty damn good, considering, as I say, the 13, nearly 14 years old. So that's me done for this week. Bit limited on topic, unfortunately. As I say, I've had other things to deal with, but I've given you a bit of an insight into that. I will show you my device when I've designed it for the front, for when I'm filling up. I won't make the mistake of letting my hose overflow, thinking, well, it's all sealed on the deck, so you will no issues. Try yourselves always to ensure that after the first 30-40 minutes of starting to fill your tank on a steady fill, you sit there and wait. Because trust me, it's better to have to spend 10-15 minutes waiting than have the stress of worrying that you've got water under your floor. So all that remains, as I say every week, until I catch up with you next week, is from Misty and Me. Thank you for the lovely comments that you give us. Thank you for the thumbs up. At the point of making this video and doing Cider of the Week, we have 399 subscribers. I just don't seem to be able to get past the 400 mark. I'm not looking to be mega, I'm never going to be, but it's just you get in your head, it'd be nice to be past 400. And we've been to 399 before, and then suddenly a couple disappear, and then a couple come back. So share if you like what we do. Share it with your friends. Tell other people to subscribe. Do give me a thumbs up if you like what we do. Please don't give me a thumbs down. Bang your comments in the section at the bottom. Love to hear from you. Questions, ideas, points of view on what I'm doing. And till next week, from Misty and Me. Cheers.